Oni, Sego, Tanse, Bonjour, and hello from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Welcome to Jack Layton's Legacy event. I'm touched and honored to be invited by Olivia Chow and the Legacy team to offer a brief land acknowledgement and a few words of welcome. In 1995, I was living in Toronto, and Moses Neimer of City TV fame hired me as an arts and entertainment reporter. He said to me at the time, City TV is a people's channel, and I want you to be the people's reporter. Toronto has many festivals and events going on all the time in all the diverse communities and neighborhoods, and they seldom get reported. I want you to cover them. I was thrilled and enthusiastically began to shoot coverage of local events such as art gallery openings, plays, neighborhood festivals, bake sales, fundraisers, and celebrations. In all my coverage of events, I noticed that there was one common thread that ran through them all, and that was the presence of Jack Layton. Everywhere I did a community story, there was Jack, shaking hands, meeting people, listening to their opinions. And since I saw him so often at these events, we soon became pretty good friends. And I realized that he was the people's politician. He loved the diversity of Canada and was comfortable with every nationality, no matter what their station in life was. As a reporter for 15 years, I never met another man so well loved, and I number myself among that multitude. Although Jack was born in Montreal, he was a Torontonian through and through, who believed with all Indigenous people that Canadians share a covenant with the land, and that covenant is called a dish with one spoon. The Indigenous nations, Métis and Inuit, welcomed settlers from across the seas when they arrived in their territories. Such beauty revealed before their eyes was beyond the settlers' ability to describe in all the languages that the settlers spoke. There were no words that could evoke with any clarity a single thought that Mother Nature's splendor brought. It was from the indigenous tongues that they learned the language of the earth in all her idioms. Toronto from Toronto, trees standing in the water, a meeting place where small fish could gather. Nearby hills where alders grow, that was called Etobicoke. And in the autumn before the winter snows, the passenger pigeons rested in a place called Mimico. And to the west, where the great waters flow, the Layton lands were called Ontario. The eagle soars high with prayers for Manitou, and the Mississauga people smudge and launch their birchbark canoes. The Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Wendat too. Three sisters, corn, bean, and squash, the planting season has begun. Tobacco is offered to grandfather's son. Sage, sweetgrass, and cedar to grandmother moon. There is harmony, joy, and peace in the treaty lands called a dish with one spoon. Megwetch.
Good evening, everyone. My name is William Prince. Speaking to you today from Treaty 1 territory, Winnipeg, Manitoba. And when I think of people with a purpose, especially for that of hope, optimism, and equality for all, it's pretty easy to think of Jack Layton. So thank you so much from my family to yours, to Jack Layton and his family, and everybody a part of the Layton legacy for allowing me to be a small part of it in this way. This is a song called Wasted, about not letting your days pass without purpose and to help those around you. So I think this is the one. I love staying up so late. I love getting a good night's sleep. I want to hear some old hymns tonight. I need to hear Christopher Wallace speak. I could go for some food right now. I could care less if we ever eat. I sure love just sitting around. Some days I'm never off my feet, but gotta love what you do, babe, for that jingle jangle. 'Cause we only get a few days. Nobody makes it out of here anyway. Puts a shuffle in your shoes, babe. That's the thing worth chasing. Gotta love what you do, babe, so not a day goes wasted. Don't wanna let a day go wasted. So go ahead, be a scientist. Start a band with your best friends. Be the muscle with a phony list. Change some oil, burn your wrist. Stay home, raise a family. Go teach gym overseas. I'll love you for whatever it is. Just don't let a day go wasted. Don't wanna let a day go wasted. So, gotta love what you do, babe, for that jingle jangle. 'Cause we only get a few days. Nobody makes it out of here anyway. Puts a shuffle in your shoes, babe. That's the thing worth chasing. Gotta love what you do, babe, so not a day goes wasted. Don't wanna let a day go wasted. I like the TV way too loud. I like it colder when we sleep. I drive too close to the outside lane. I drive you crazy when I breathe. Think I'm ready for a new life. Think I'm ready for a beautiful wife. Think I'm done with fighting, 'cause it's just time we're wasting. Thank you, Jack.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being with us tonight to remember Jack. It's been 10 years since I lost my dad, since Olivia lost her partner, and since Canada lost a friend. I'll never forget the outpouring of love and support from people across the country. Thousands lined up at City Hall and Parliament Hill to pay their respects. They filled Roy Thompson Hall inside and out for the celebration of Jack's life. They chalked up every surface of Nathan Phillips Square with notes of love and gratitude. And after the rain washed the words away, they appeared the next day. 10 years later, people still tell me stories about Jack and the impact he had on their lives. Many of us loved Jack, and he loved us back. Before he died, Jack wrote a letter to Canadians. His words offered comfort. They inspired love, hope, and optimism. But most of all, that letter was a call to action. Jack urged us to keep fighting, together, for a country of greater equality, justice, and opportunity. Many of you have continued that work. So while tonight is about Jack, it's also about you. All of you who are working towards change. And tonight, we're giving out the first ever Layton Legacy Award to one of the many amazing activists who are making Canada a better place.
We couldn't celebrate Jack without music. It was a huge part of his life. He was known to sing and play guitar on the campaign bus, or to get up on stage and perform any chance he got. He loved to end an evening gathering with a song circle. And many of the instruments lying around the house ended up at a protest or a rally. He would come home after a long day of work and relax at the piano. Jack understood the power of music and how it energized and empowered. So tonight, we're thrilled to share performances by some of the country's best musicians, and we have inspiring words from prominent poets and activists. Jacques aurait adoré cette soirée. Nous espérons que vous aussi. Soyez à l'écoute et amusez-vous. It's an event that Jack would have loved, and we hope you do too. Stay tuned and enjoy.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Stéphane Moraille et je vous rejoins depuis Montréal, Québec. Cela fait maintenant 10 ans que nous avons perdu notre cher ami Jack Layton. Jack a eu une énorme influence sur moi et sur d'innombrables Québécois et Québécoises. Il comprenait l'histoire du Québec, notre espoir perpétuel et notre fierté. Il a compris notre profond sens du bien commun et notre désir d'action collective pour faire progresser l'égalité sociale et économique, Il partageait également l'amour profond des Québécois et Québécoises pour notre planète et l'urgence d'agir pour le climat. Par-dessus tout, Jack savait que la politique, c'est pas seulement la politique, mais pour lui, la politique était rassembleuse. C'est une question d'esprit collectif et de joie de vivre. La première fois que j'ai rencontré Jack, c'était au Video Fact Awards, aujourd'hui Much Fact, alors que j'étais sur le CA. Ce qui m'a marqué le plus chez lui, c'est combien il avait du fun à rencontrer des gens. Et j'avais la nette impression aussi que quand il me regardait, il me voyait vraiment. C'est pourquoi ensemble, nous nous souviendrons toujours de lui comme un bon Jack. Il s'est attaché aux Québécois et on le lui a rendu. Comme la jeune génération, il voulait transformer notre société pour le mieux. Il aurait aimé être ici aujourd'hui pour entendre les artistes et militants talentueux poursuivre son œuvre. J'espère que vous l'apprécierez aussi.
Hey, my name is Shad, and I'm glad to be here alongside all these other folks to honor Jack's legacy and his life. To me, he represents a sense of possibility, which is something I think is much needed right now, and it's what this song is about. It's called Out of Touch. Canada heat getting hotter than a Panama beach. In a Canada goose, speaking of Canada beef. Who's speaking Canada's truth? Who's standing for peace? Live from the home of the slaves in the land it was teeth. Lot of broken and lost souls on this planet of freaks. Supply and demand's the only commandment we preach. Each man's a brand, each night famine or feast. So we quote ourselves, therefore I am in these streets. The people is sick, and nothing that it needed to fix. We need presents, we just get receipts for the gifts. Playing God, we just gotta cease and desist. When our own souls wish that we would cease to exist. We out of touch now. Too out of touch now. In the six like touchdown. I was tripping, I just touched down. In touch now.
Wow, how we come along.
Touch now.
But it seems we're heading in the wrong way. Turn it around one day.
Yeah.
Before it's
Touch
too
ground
late.
now. How do we reattach the roots? I don't mean no metaphor. I'm talking about these packaged foods, mass produced. Who's the most impacted group? Guess we the black and blue. Really, it's a question that's connected to the facts and truth. Lands and plants and passion fruits. We got crashing moods, diseases and other attributes. Lack of direction from having no grasp of past and future. Attitude is numb. Plus, we love to escape. We love entertainment, especially if it's public disgrace. No love and embraces, and nothing is sacred. These public debates, discussions of late, no trust in the space, the drugs in the safe, the plugs in the wall, and all that to say, the main cause of all the suffering and hate. We out of touch now. Too out of touch now. In the six like touchdown. I was tripping, I just touched down. In touch now.
Wow, how we come a long way. But it seems we're heading in the wrong way.
Touchdown.
Hope we finally turn it around one day. Before it's too late. Before it's too late.
And that's the way that it goes.
Oh Lord, I don't know if I can take
anymore.
Got my hands in the air and my knees
Needed
to the
a flow.
floor. Wanna reach out and touch something deep in my
Hey,
soul.
we out of touch now.
That's the way that it goes.
Too out of touch now.
I can take anymore.
Touchdown.
Hands in the air and my knees to the floor. Wanna reach out and touch something deep in my soul.
Touch now.
My, how we come a long way, but it seems we're heading in the wrong way.
Thank you very much for having me.
Turn it around one day.
Touchdown.
Before it's
It's
too
touchdown.
late.
It's probably best summarized with the last words that he wrote, sort of to try and remind Canadians of who we are, who we can be, and not to give up hope, not to be negative. And that's something about Jack. He was never negative.
Jack is the idealist, he's the optimist.
Jack restored to Canadian politics a sense of optimism, a sense of hope, a sense of civility, of what it could mean to be a politician.
Sexist violence against women is not something that is on city council agendas around this country. And yet it should be.
Can you imagine in Toronto, people running out of food at the end of the month?
I mean, why should a person, because of their sexual orientation, not be allowed to live in an apartment building like the ones behind us or work in a certain place of work? We think peace is a worthwhile goal.
It wasn't an accident that those who came to us in the thousands in the province of Quebec did so for social democratic reasons, for positive reasons.
And nobody's going to tell us it can't be done. Thank you all very much. Merci beaucoup. Lâche-pas.
I want Beatrice, my granddaughter, to live in a world that's optimistic, that is positive about the future. And that means tackling some of the negative issues one by one so that the chances that that will happen are increased for her.
Family has been and always was important to him. Nous sommes quatre dans la famille, Jack, après c'est moi et mes jeunes frères Rob et Dave. Jack adored his kids, there's no question, and actually I think my most favorite photo of the election campaign was taken in Montreal as he comes off the platform and he's reaching out to this little girl in a pink dress, and you can see her face just beaming, and it's his granddaughter in the middle of 1,600 people and noise.
Well, of course, I fell in love with Olivia in 4 nanoseconds. So I wasn't sure exactly what I was getting into, but I knew that I was smitten from day one.
There's a poem that I've asked a good friend of ours to read for you. It's a poem that connects us. It's a poem that gives us hope.
Je porte ton cœur avec moi. Je le porte dans mon cœur. Sans lui, jamais je ne suis. Là où je vais, tu vas, ma chère. Et tout ce que je suis le seul à faire est ton fait, ma chérie. Je ne crains pas le destin, car tu es à jamais le mien, ma douce.
Some people say to me that Jack's voice is gone, I'm so sad. Yeah, I'm sad. We're sad. But let us not look behind us. Let's look forward, look at what we can accomplish together to make sure that Jack's voice is not silenced. I think that's a good way to celebrate his life.
"10 years now, I've had time to reflect on why there was such an outpouring of emotion and love across the nation. In the days and months after Jack's death, I received thousands of cards, letters, notes with stories from people who met Jack through the years. They gave me a clue. One I remember very distinctly was from a daughter of a security guard at the House of Commons. She wrote how Jack would stop by and say hello to the security guards. But he didn't just say hello, he actually asked how they're doing. And when her dad answered, Jack listened and remembered. He listened to the guard's pride of his daughter's musical talents, of the challenges she had, and he remembered. Through the years, Jack encouraged the guard to develop his daughter's talents. The impression left on her was so strong that she went to the House of Commons to meet Jack, to tell him of her achievements. Jack didn't just listen. He acknowledged people's joy, their pain, their challenges, the difficult life decisions they had to make. He allowed these stories to mold him, to challenge him, to inspire him, and push him to take action. But Jack also understood that fundamental change occurs only when the people affected take action together. So he was constantly bringing people together, organizing for change, bringing their stories to the House of Commons, working on solutions, insisting on real action and political backbone, not just political promises. Here's a story he told of a Cree mother on the day he was finally able to persuade the former Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, to apologize for the residential school.
Un de ses enfants m'a parlé de sa mère, un Cree de Nord du Québec, à qui on a enlevé 12 de ses 14 enfants. Son frère est mort dans un pensionnat, mais on n'a jamais expliqué pourquoi ni comment à sa mère. On ne lui a jamais dit où son fils était enterré. Elle n'a pas eu le droit de se rendre hommage à sa vie, ni à sa mort. Et elle n'a pas pu faire son deuil, ni faire ses derniers adieux à son enfant, comme toute mère doit le faire. Many years later, her daughter was working in Northern Ontario, and she happened to mention the story of her brother to a local. He said, "I know where your brother is buried." They went to the graveyard, and he pointed to a spot beside a headstone and said, "Your brother is buried here, unmarked." The pain inflicted by the residential schools is deeply felt by these children who were forced to attend and by the parents who had their children stolen from them. And it is still felt in the First Nations communities, Métis communities, Inuit communities across the country. Reconciliation also means that as a parliament and as a country, we must take action to address the terrible inequality faced by First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities. We can start by restoring the nation-to-nation relationship between the Government of Canada, First Nations, Métis, and the Inuit. Thousands of Aboriginal children are without proper schools or clean water, adequate food, their own bed, good health care, safety, comfort, land, and rights. We can no longer throw up our hands and say there's nothing we can do. Taking responsibility and working towards reconciliation means saying we must act together to resolve this. Let us all, First Nations, Métis, Inuit, Canadians who've been here for generations, and new Canadians, build a fair, an equal, and a respectful Canada for all. Miigwech, Ngose, Nakame.
Jack traveled across his land and listened to Indigenous people's stories and the demands for justice. He knew action is required immediately. Each time he met with then Prime Minister Stephen Harper, he would repeat the same demand: a formal apology in the House of Commons and actions for true reconciliation. And when the apology finally came, Jack demanded that Indigenous leaders be treated as equals, seated inside the House of Commons, not as spectators, but as participants, nation to nation's kind of respect. Jack believed we are all equal, no matter who we are, and each person would find her power and agency to make changes. Earlier, we heard from William Prince, "Do what you love. Don't let a day go wasted without making your world a better place to be." Let tonight's artists and storytellers motivate you to act. And do know that we are stronger together.
Hi, I'm Stephen Page. I am thrilled and honored to be part of this great celebration of Jack's life and legacy. Jack was my city councilor and my member of parliament, and Jack was also my friend. And we worked closely together on things like the White Ribbon campaign. And, he really helped to shape my sense of where I fit, how I can help in the world of politics and Canadian society. His sense of optimism and his sense for a more hopeful and more compassionate Canada made me less afraid to be politically involved and politically outspoken. And I am eternally grateful to him for that. One thing that Jack loved was music. He loved to play guitar and sing in a group with other people. So I brought a group of other people. I have a band called the Trans-Canada Highwaymen, me and 3 of my good friends from all across Canada. From the East Coast, we have Chris Murphy from Sloan. From the West Coast, we have Craig Northey of Odds. And originally from Edmonton, Alberta, Mr. Mo Berg of The Pursuit of Happiness. And yours truly. Enjoy. 1, 2, 3. Walk into the old apartment. This is where we used to live. Broken glass, broken hungry, broken hearts and broken bones. This is where we used to live. Why did you paint the walls? Why did you clean the floor? Why did you plaster over the hole I punched in the door? This is where we used to live. Why did you keep the mousetrap? Why did you keep the dish rack? These things used to be mine. I guess they still are. Want 'em back. I broke into the old apartment. 42 stairs from the street. Crooked landing, crooked landlord, narrow lane, red bill, red crooks. This is where we used to live. Why did you paint the lawn? Why did you change the lock? Why did I have to break it? I only came in to talk. This is where we used to live. How is the neighbor downstairs? How is
Jack Layton wasn't just a friend, he was so much more. From his moral guidance to his belief in social justice. He was a political force who inspired me until the end of his life. I really miss him. I miss sharing his honesty and vision. I miss his calls for us to do more. Most of all, I miss his never-ending optimistic leadership. I've always been proud to call Jack brother. I'm Ken Newman, National Director of the United Steelworkers Union. We are honored to sponsor this important Layton legacy event. For Jack, injustice was grounded in class division. He told us economic inequality breeds not only class discrimination, but it is the root of all forms of bigotry. He reminded us the tools against discrimination are love, hope, and optimism. But the route to changing it, he insisted, is organizing and building power. Building power with those who are disadvantaged was Jack Layton's way of making change. Jack Layton was not only a working class hero, Jack was a working class organizer and builder. Thank you to those organizers for this important event.
When it came to environmental action, Jack was ahead of his time. He was passionate about preventing climate change back when it was still called global warming, and he worked tirelessly to restore our natural environment. As a Toronto City Councillor in the 90s, Jack developed Toronto's first environmental plan. He helped set Toronto's emission reduction targets and formed the Better Building Partnership to make buildings more energy efficient. Jack fought against plans to send Toronto's garbage to the Adams mine and instead introduced a recycling and composting program. He pushed for better public transit and some of the city's first cycling infrastructure. He advocated for green energy and was instrumental in bringing Canada's first urban wind turbine to Exhibition Place. As the president of the Canadian Federation of Municipalities, Jack helped launch the Green Municipal Fund to help communities switch to more sustainable practices. He helped seed the Toronto Atmospheric Fund, an initiative recognized globally and now replicated across Canada. Jack lived his environmental values. He didn't drive a car, he cycled everywhere. When I was growing up, I would often ride on the back of his tandem bike, sometimes on trips across the province. Jack even had our house retrofitted with solar panels and geothermal power. Dad drew inspiration and strength from the wilderness. Through our canoe, hiking, and cycling trips, he came to know the boreal forest, our Great Lakes, and wild rivers. He saw firsthand the melting glaciers and the dying coral reefs. These experiences fueled his desire to do more to protect the environment. He in turn inspired me and many others to become environmental advocates. We have our work cut out for us. With a code red climate emergency upon us, with parts of Canada warming up to 3 times the global average, now more than ever, there is no time to waste.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Harmer and I'm really happy to be here to think about Jack Layton, to celebrate his legacy. And I remember admiring Jack so much when I knew him as a Toronto City Councillor. He was engaged, he would show up, he was at the grassroots, he walked his talk. It was great to have him in Ottawa, really pushing to try to limit Canada's greenhouse gas emissions and to increase energy efficiency. He just got it, you know. And unfortunately, the work increases right now when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions and the climate emergency that we're in, and the overexploitation of our living world continues in our midst. And I wrote this song in 2005, so 15 or 16 years ago, and it's called Escarpment Blues. If they blow a hole in my backyard, everyone is gonna run away, and the creeks won't flow to the Great Lake below. Will the water in the wells still be okay? We'll need to build some new apartments, and I know we're gonna have to fix the roads. But if we blow another hole in the escarpment,
creeks won't flow to the great lake below, will the water in the well still be okay? We'll keep driving on the blind line if we don't know where we wanna go. And even knowledge that sound can get watered down, and truth can get sucked out the car window. Get sucked out the car window. We're 2/3 water. What do we really need? Sun and showers, soil and seed. We're 2/3 water. The aquifer provides. Deep down in the rock, there's a pearl inside. Oh yeah. If they blow a hole in my backyard, everyone is gonna run away, and the creeks won't flow to the great lake below. Will the water in the wells still be okay if they blow a hole in the backbone, the one that runs across the muscles of the land? We might get a load of stone for the road, but I don't know how much longer we can stand. Oh, we might get a load of stone for the road, but I don't know how much longer we can stand.
Hello, I'm David Suzuki. In 1952, I was in a high school civics class, and the teacher asked what we wanted to be in life. John, the most popular boy, good-looking, smart, an athlete, declared he wanted to go into politics and set the whole class buzzing with excitement because we were thrilled. We knew he wanted to make a better Canada. I think of that often as I reflect on the state of politics and politicians today. How seldom we see the best among us with lofty ideals seeking office. Jack was a rarity among politicians, the real deal, committed to social justice and the environment. He died far too young, but he left a legacy, an inspiring role model for others to emulate. And I'm pleased to say his son is one of them. I have only one story right now that to me was so indicative of who Jack Layton was. He and Olivia were visiting Vancouver, and he called from the suburb of Burnaby to ask if they could drop by for a visit. I was delighted, expecting them to be over shortly. Instead, they showed up well over an hour later by bike. We had a wonderful visit, after which I offered to put the bikes in my trunk and give them a lift back. "Oh no," he said, "we're going to have a swim in that wonderful outdoor pool here, then we'll bike back." And off they went, and I thought, they're living the way they suggest we have to in the future. He died far too early, left an immense hole in the body politics, and I grieve for the loss of the Prime Minister he could have been.
I was first introduced to Jack Layton as a young organizer who was trying to bring the atrocities of the 1984 Sikh genocide to light. I was in high school at the time, and I was forever moved and inspired by the way Jack Layton not only listened to what we were saying, but he fought for so many of the things that we believed in. Whether it was standing up against hate, fighting for minority rights, to end climate change or end violence against women, Jack Layton's support was always felt. And today, I am honored to share some poems to celebrate Jack Layton's message of love, hope, and optimism. I'm going to be sharing two poems. One is about climate change, and the other is about community. Being the loudest on Earth's playground doesn't make us any more important than the dirt we crush beneath our feet. We are nothing except air and fire and water and soil. We are a people who forget what we are made of, a people who talk about the weather as if it's mundane and not magic, as if the oceans are not holy water, as if the sky is not a vision, as if the animals are not our siblings, as if nature is not God, and rain is not God's tears, and we are not God's children, as if God is not the earth itself. Our souls will not be soothed by what we achieve, how we look, or all the hard work we do. Even if we managed to make all the money in the world, we'd be left feeling empty for something. Our souls ache for community. Our deepest being craves one another. We need to be connected to feel alive. Thank you.
Jack was passionate about many things and was never content to leave things be, especially if it was unjust and harmful. Close to his heart was ending the human-made disaster of people being made homeless. In his book on the issue, written in 2000, Jack shares a pivotal moment when he and Olivia were walking home after midnight during a bitterly cold spell along Spadina Avenue. They had already checked on 2 people huddled against the freezing cold, but it wasn't until the next morning that they heard on the news of Eugene Upper frozen to death on the other side of the street. Jack recounts that Eugene's death broke the silence in their city and galvanized them both into action to challenge that such a preventable tragedy took place 1 block from where they lived. Jack understood homelessness wasn't about individual failure. It isn't a social problem so often portrayed in the media and by those in power. Homelessness is a failure of public policy. Homelessness is a failure of the state, the failure of those in leadership who make conscious choices and decisions about who wins and who loses. I remember the federal election of 2004, where Jack correctly assigned responsibility to Paul Martin, the architect of brutal austerity programs in the 1990s, for the disaster of homelessness. The media jumped all over it and went after Jack for going too far in his criticism. Jack's advocacy to end homelessness in this wealthy country and his proposals for national housing programs were based on his belief that access to safe and affordable housing for everyone is a basic human right. He never gave up on this premise as a city councillor, as president of the FCM, as an MP, and as a political leader. His work for housing was not an abstract, but a reality of the real experiences of pain and suffering of the people he knew. He was able to translate that into political initiative and leadership. On housing, as with so many things he took on, Jack was ahead of his time. The Jack Layton legacy is a call to action, a call for us to work harder than ever to bring about transformative change that is attainable and essential. We are carrying forward Jack's actions and words in the work we do today. We are honoring his work that is now our work.
Some of it was done too late for the men who did die. We're developing a strategy for harm reduction for homeless people in severe weather conditions.
Layton says he expects council to approve it in the next couple of weeks.
Everybody, all the volunteer groups, all the agencies will be coordinated. We'll take the lessons learned this year and make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again.
We don't want to accept the proposition that our community will allow homelessness to exist without action. What is missing, Mr. Chairman, and what this resolution really focuses on is our federal and provincial governments. Because frankly, they have walked away from the homeless of this city. We will be the first city council to join this fight and declare an emergency. And it's a courageous thing to do.
This was declared a national disaster 3 years ago.
And it's now hitting even communities like Banff, if you can believe it. Small towns, everybody's experiencing this affordable housing crisis, and yet we haven't heard anything really from Ottawa yet.
Hey, my name is Ralph, and I'm a singer-songwriter from Toronto. I was born and raised in the Annex, so Jack and Olivia, who actually lived right around the corner, were basically like iconic celebrities to me growing up. And I always loved that Jack was such a passionate speaker, and even as a kid, I knew when he was speaking that it must be important because he was so engaging and he was so good at making his speech feel like a story. And he was such a patron of the arts, such a lover of music and of culture. He was also very invested in working to end homelessness. And for me right now, especially, that is something that I'm very concerned about in Toronto and invested in. There's a lot of inhumanity happening right now in Toronto. There are a lot of people experiencing homelessness and they need safe places to live. And I don't think that the city or the government are handling it with compassion and understanding and respect and humanity. And I'm hoping that by talking about it and encouraging others to do so, and to look deeper into it and to contribute to it any way they can, I'm hoping that we can work together towards something that is more positive and more sustainable than what is currently happening, because it's not okay. That being said, I'm going to sing a song for you today. It's called Love Potion. It's a dance song. It's a fun song. Jack loved to have fun. He was a funny guy. So this is just a little moment for you to sit back, have a little fun, and I hope you enjoy it. And thank you so much for having me as a part of this event. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, I can hear it in your tone. The way you're talking on the phone. Yeah, I can tell that something's wrong. And if our love needs some reviving and you ever need reminding, I got just the perfect potion for you. I've been keeping it a secret just in case someday I need it, and it feels like maybe right now I do. All you need is one sip to remember that you said our love, it will last forever. Give you just a taste to keep us together. We're stirring and mixing it up, pouring it into your cup. Woo! One sip of this love potion for you. Just a little bit of love. I got a potion for you. Do what it takes to make you stay. Won't let a good thing get away. Let it get out, stop you from making a big mistake. And if our love needs some reviving and you ever need reminding, I got just the perfect potion for you. I've been keeping it a secret just in case someday I need it, and it feels like maybe right now I do. All you need is one sip to remember that you said our love, it will last forever. Give you just a taste to keep us together. I'm stirring and mixing it up, pouring it into your cup. Woo! One sip of this love potion for you. Just a little bit of love. All you need is one sip to remember that you said our love, it will last forever. Give you just a taste to keep us together. I'm stirring and mixing it up, pouring it into your cup. One sip of this love. I got a potion for you. Just a little bit of love. I got a potion for you. Ooh, potion. I got a potion for you. Ooh.
My name is Judy Rebick. I'm a feminist activist and writer. And I knew Jack as long as I can remember doing politics in Toronto when he was a city councillor. And he was always there for us, whatever the issue was. But when it really mattered was on December 6, 1989, the date of the Montreal massacre, when 14 young women at École Polytechnique in Montreal were slaughtered by a man who said he hated feminists. We as feminists organized at that moment to make sure that violence against women remained on the front page, if you want, that we got changes to the law to improve the justice system in convicting men who commit violence against women. But Jack was one of the few men who acted. He told us that Olivia said to him, "What are you going to do about this, Jack?" And he approached Michael Kaufman, and together they set up the White Ribbon Campaign. Now, in 1990, it was very rare for men to speak out on violence against women. Jack was one of the first, and he and Michael created the White Ribbon Campaign, which continues to this day. Today, we understand that violence against women is actually a men's issue, not just a women's issue, because it's men who commit violence, and it's men who can call other men to end the violence against women. Jack was one of the first people to do that. And I love Jack because he was such a great person, but also because he was such a strong ally to the women's movement.
Got a friend named Tommy, still drives his old man's Honda. He spends all of his money trying to keep the damn thing running. He lost his dad last summer. Tommy was his only son. That's all he got from him, so he ain't gonna stop. But whatever keeps you going, keeps your wheels rolling. Whatever helps you sleep at night, that gets you up in the morning. It might be something you hate, or you love, or you can't let go. Whatever keeps you going. Well, she just started college, and I guess that she thought it wouldn't be so hard to leave Mom back in Michigan. So she drives from Wisconsin way too often just to get a good talking, and drives back again. But whatever keeps you going, keeps your wheels rolling. Whatever helps you sleep at night, gets you up in the morning. It might be something you hate, or you love, or you can't let go. Whatever keeps you going, whatever keeps you going. Hey, yeah, yeah. Whatever keeps you going. Hey, yeah, yeah. There's a big old farmhouse about 45 miles south, and it's far enough out that you can see the stars. Well, nothing comes easy, so I work on the weekend, so someday we can make it ours. But whatever keeps you going, keeps your wheels rolling. Whatever helps you sleep at night, gets you up in the morning. It might be something you hate, or you love, or you can't let go of. Whatever keeps you going. Whatever keeps you going. Whatever keeps you going. Well, Love you, Jack, and we miss you.
Jack est un formidable allié pour tant de personnes. Les échos de son legs se font entendre aujourd'hui plus que jamais. Son engagement envers l'équité et la justice était bien connu de la plupart d'entre nous lorsqu'il était le chef du NPD, mais son œuvre a commencé bien avant. Pendant ses études à McGill ici à Montréal, même en tant qu'anglophone, il s'est battu pour les droits des francophones. Et alors qu'il luttait pour l'accès au logement ici, il a vu de ses propres yeux les conséquences de la brutalité policière fondée sur les préjugés et il s'y est opposé. Il était aussi un allié LGBTQ et a riposté avec les militants de première heure aux débarques policières dans les maisons de bain. Avec Alan Sparrow et d'autres progressistes de marque, Jack allait devenir une figure centrale de la Citizens Independent Review of Police Activities. La CIRPA a été créée à une époque où il n'existait aucune surveillance civile de la police à Toronto. Dans tout ce qu'il a fait, Jack a toujours été du bon côté de l'histoire et il n'a jamais cessé de se battre pour les droits de la personne contre toute injustice pour toute personne. En 2008, lorsque le gouvernement fédéral a finalement présenté des excuses officielles pour le génocide perpétué dans les écoles résidentielles, le premier ministre a reconnu que Jack était un moteur du changement. Jack s'est battu avec acharnement pour que ces excuses soient non seulement présentées, mais aussi pour placer les leaders et les survivants autochtones au centre du processus. Au cours des dernières années, voire des derniers mois, nous avons compris, par des exemples incroyablement tragiques, ce qui se passe lorsque nous permettons au racisme, à l'intolérance et à la haine de prendre le dessus. Comme il l'a écrit dans sa dernière lettre, nous avons toujours beaucoup de travail à faire et il nous a demandé de reprendre le flambeau et de nous engager à devenir un pays où règne l'égalité, la justice et les opportunités pour tous. Pour tous. L'amour, l'espoir et l'optimisme que nous apportons à son œuvre vont assurer la pérennité de celle-ci et font partie de l'héritage de cet homme extraordinaire, Jack Layton.
Hi, I'm Julian Taylor, and it's an honor to be here in celebration of Jack Layton. I'm going to perform a song that I wrote called Human Race. It's a steep hill to mine, with lots of stairs to climb. Thanks for looking out for me all the time. I appreciate everything that you've ever done for me. People always say I'm a tough one, but how could that be? Watching you go through so much pain isn't easy. That's why awake always leaves a trace. The human race, get out of this place. The human race, we all feel out of place in the human race. I can't begin to imagine all the things that you've been through, and I know it isn't only strangers that have hurt you. You've been so misunderstood, I've seen things cripple you. I only know this because they've crippled me too. Watching you go through so much pain isn't easy, and that's why awake always leaves a trace. The human race,
should never be so vain to think I've ruined your life. Whenever I felt like I blew it, so please won't you help me through it. I should never be so vain to think I've ruined my own life. Get out of this place, the human race. We all feel out of place in the human race. To get out of this place, the human race. We all feel out of place. Big thanks to the Layton Legacy for having me. What a beautiful opportunity. And thank you, Jack Layton.
Hey, bonjour tout le monde. Mon nom est Martin Deschamps. Je suis de Rawdon, au Québec. Présentement avec mon ami Bernard Casey au piano, qui vient de Sainte-Mélanie, au Québec. Il y a 10 ans, nous étions au Roy Thompson Hall pour les funérailles de M. Jack Layton. Aujourd'hui, en sa mémoire, j'aimerais vous présenter une chanson très spéciale, car il avait de grandes idées, c'était un homme bien différent, et j'aime les personnes différentes. Alors pour vous, pour lui, différent. Traversant le cosmos sur un météorite, voyage un spermatozoïde fringant, et c'est le Big Bang dans l'antichambre sous les yeux de mi-septembre. C'est cette virgule dans le temps qui décide de ce que t'auras l'air. Ça change étrangement le visage des gens quand t'es différent. Dans une mer amniotique, un gros choc électrique et quelques petits coups de tonnerre sont venus comme par magie changer le cours d'une vie et de tout l'univers. C'est cette virgule dans le temps qui décide de ce que t'auras l'air. Ça change étrangement le visage des gens quand t'es différent. Quisquidoubi, quibus auxilis, cours commodo quando. C'est pas toi qui choisis, pas le coupable, irrévocable, le hasard me sourit. Quisquidoubi, quibus auxilis, cours commodo quando. C'est pas toi qui choisis, pas de coupable, irrévocable, le hasard, oh le hasard me sourit. Par un beau matin d'été, tout le monde est rassemblé pour voir le nouveau petit comique. Comment leur expliquer ce qui est arrivé dans l'enceinte hydroponique? C'est cette virgule dans le temps qui décide de ce que t'auras l'air. Ça change étrangement le visage des gens quand t'es différent. Quisquidoubi, quibus auxilis, cours commodo quando. Pas toi qui choisis, pas de coupable, irrévocable, le hasard me sourit. Quisquidoubi, quibus auxilis, cours comme modo quando. Pas toi qui choisis, pas de coupable, irrévocable, le hasard, oh le hasard nous sourit. Les enfants différents sont comme des diamants, précieux, solides et brillants. Les dauphins, les sirènes les protègent de la haine pour qu'ils puissent devenir plus grands. Salut Jack.
Hello everyone and salam. May peace and blessings be upon you. I'm so happy to be a part of this celebratory event. My name is Asma Hussein and I'm a children's author based in Toronto. So many of us were inspired by Jack Layton's message of hope. You know, he dreamt of a better Canada, a better government that would exist to serve its people, to promote love, to hold up ideals of equality and humanity. And as a young person at the time, I was moved by his genuine desire to see us move forward in this manner. What I take from Jack's legacy is the idea to continuously hope and to hold on even when things seem bleak. Working together, we can build a culture and a world that appreciates love and diversity and that welcomes and celebrates people from all walks of life.
At the concert, women with horns and drums and men with guitars and keyboards play music that ends poverty and protects the environment. Why are they so young? The trumpet has a fourth valve, I hear someone say, as though it's the thumb on a snake. How do they do it? Play apart, play together, in tune. Let's send them to Ottawa, to Washington and Moscow, to Beijing and Berlin, to Walmart and Royal Dutch Shell, to British Petroleum and Amazon, anywhere decisions about people and the planet are made. Parliaments, Congresses, Senates, corporate boards, central committees, all the dusty chamber pots of power. Tip 'em on end and bang the bottoms, shake out the toads. These are not frogs to be kissed. Shake 'em out, kick 'em to the curb, these destroyers of worlds. Give them a stick and a Timmy cup. See if they can keep time better than they kept the peace. Turn the world over to musicians, brass and strings, reeds and percussion, choir optional. Orchestra rules, congenial 4/4 scores inside the stave, so everyone can play.
Jack Layton loved teaching and learning. He cherished his many years as a university professor, which inspired him to continue fighting for young people throughout his political career. In memory of Jack's passionate work with students, the Layton Legacy has established a fund at McGill University. It was at McGill where Jack first encountered and was deeply inspired by Charles Taylor's philosophy. The beneficiary will be selected from students enrolled in the Masters in Public Policy program in the Max Bell School of Public Policy at McGill University. Jack Layton was inspired by Indigenous activists who are changing the world. He was there as an ally and a mentor. The Layton Indigenous Leadership Award carry on this important legacy by recognizing and supporting Indigenous activists who are powerful change makers in their communities and in their nations. A key component of the Layton Legacy Initiative is to encourage and support new waves of activism, to support the long-standing and new emerging groups who are committed to organizing for change in their communities. We are delighted to announce the winner of the first Layton Activism Award. The winner is the African Centre for Refugees in Ontario, Canada.
My name is Christopher Nkambwe. I'm the founding executive director of the African Centre for Refugees in Ontario, Canada, and I'm a trans woman activist. And I'm delighted to be selected as the winner of the first Jack Layton Legacy Activism Award 2021. Life back home wasn't easy for me. because as an LGBTQ person, my life was threatened for promoting homosexuality in Uganda. When I reached Canada as a newcomer, I faced a lot of challenges like finding organizations that support refugees, finding shelter. All these challenges that I faced as a newcomer made me wonder how many other newcomers go through the same challenges. So I decided to advocate for the newcomers by starting the African Center for Refugees in Ontario, Canada. We are a team of 12 volunteers. We are not paid, but we are touching lives of many newcomers in Canada. Our organization will keep Jack's legacy alive because we are going to continue advocating for the LGBTQ newcomers. The advocacy that we are doing will really impact the community in the long run. This award is going to benefit the entire LGBTQ community globally. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to Christopher Nakabi for winning the Layton Activism Award for $5,000. Her team also won an opportunity to receive leadership training on community and political organizing skills at the Institute for Change Leaders. There are many other deserving applicants we would like to support. We welcome your donations so we could continue to encourage and support upcoming change leaders.
Dad worked hard, but he also partied hard. When the Blue Jays won the World Series, he grabbed his sax and went down to Yonge Street and played Queen's "We're the Champions" over and over again. It was really the only song that he knew how to play on the saxophone. For his 50th birthday, we set up a live band in the backyard, and it was an evening no one would soon forget. He knew how to live life to the fullest and have fun. Much of the celebrating for him was political, though. Celebrating Pride is not just a party and having fun. It's a statement about equality. So is Caravana. Playing Mass is about a joyous liberation from oppression and injustice. He would have loved this evening's music, poetry, and words of inspiration, and he would be thrilled to know that we're all here tonight.
Hey everybody, Tim Baker here. Great pleasure to be here today, singing in honor of the great Jack Layton. It came to my attention that years ago, a song of mine was being carried around on Jack's great wave and played at campaigns and rallies all over the country. And hopefully it helped bring together Canadians of all stripes under that banner for social justice and environmental justice and fighting for each other. And so in honor of that great momentum and the great import of that time and the late great Jack Layton, I'm going to endeavor to sing it here now today. It's a song called Welcome.
You'll be a bright light coming out of the dark. All the doctors blinking hard. You'll be lightning coming out of the storm. Like a message, like a miracle. It'll be alright. You got your mother's eyes. You got your daddy's head. Anything you need for this hard ride, they were strapping you on. All the ups and downs and you can't get off. Yeah, it's trouble, but hand in all. And you gotta do better than us. lots of time. You got your daddy's love. Anything you want, I can feel you and what you're gonna be. You'll be stronger, you'll be smarter than me. Oh baby, I'll say it again. You're the most incredible thing. I'm sorry, this is it. It's cold and hard and badly lit, and there's no backing out of it. So forget where you've been. It'll never be that good again, and we must only look ahead. And soon you're 33, and everything you tried to be was pulled apart by fear and greed. But young hands built you up, they carve your face in honest draw, sunlight on your noble jaw. Young hands built you up. I'm happy that you've come along. I'm happy that you've come. I'm happy that you've come. Oh baby, I'll say it again, I'll say it again, I'm saying it, you're the most incredible
Well, today, Jack, Canadians from coast to coast to coast are thinking about you, thinking about your contribution, thinking about your legacy. Because we're living at a time today where there's a healthy mistrust of politicians globally because of their lack of candor, their lack of heart. And the reality is you had so much heart. You had vision. People trusted you because you were, above all, completely genuine. Anytime we talked, you could feel the absolute awareness that you had of the issues, but more importantly, the love that you had and your desire to do good. And did you ever? So today, Jack, is a day where we're thinking about you, we're thinking about who you were, but more importantly, we're thinking about what you left for all of us. And what you left us was the desire to lead, the desire to really do well for working class Canadians. You left us the willingness to fight. So today, Jack, we're thinking about you.
In every nation, in every clan, the elders to a person, whether woman or a man, shared a common truth, one truth to understand, that the spirit of the people is equal to the power of the land. The mother of us all, the sacred Mother Earth, is constant in her giving and perpetual in her birth. In meadows and in fields where weeds and flowers grow, she conceives the summer showers and spawns the winter snows. In forests and in mountains, she gives the birds that fly every type of wing, then coaxes the wind to join in harmony when they begin to sing. In brooks and streams and rivers as they flow, she generates the dreams that make the fires glow. And in every creature, whether large or small, she buries gems of wisdom in them all. And in every grain of sand, she plants the knowledge of the power of the land. And those that honor her creations and acknowledge her grand design She gives the templates of the sacred and the patterns of the divine, and then with certain knowledge, this to understand that the spirit of the people is equal to the power of the land. Thank you, Jack. Your legacy is a blessing to us all. Miigwech.
To all the artists, poets, filmmakers, photographers, graphic designers, volunteers, generous donors, and the Layton Legacy team members, on behalf of the Layton family, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. You make tonight possible, and you have proven a Layton motto to be true once again, that we are stronger together.
Love letter to a nation, heartfelt words of comfort and courage, wanting to be heard. My friends, love is better than anger, hope is better than fear. Optimism is better than despair. So let us be loving, hopeful, and optimistic, and we'll change the world. Love letter to a nation, words of inspiration from a respected elder, a message to the young. My friends, love is better than anger, hope is better than fear. Optimism is better than despair. So let us be loving, hopeful, and optimistic, and we'll change the world.